Hey now, today we're going to take a look at Tricks and Treats from Nazca Games. Nazca Games, and specifically the owner and head designer Emerson Matsuuchi, was responsible for Bolt Robot Battle Arena, which is an excellent game which I highly recommend. This is a very different game than that one. This is a simple card game and actually the first game from this company. The theme is very neat. It's all the players are a bunch of kids who just got back from trick-or-treating at Halloween. I don't know when else you would trick-or-treat, so I guess that was redundant, but your parents have told you to split up all of the candy, put all the candy in a big pile and split it up evenly amongst yourselves in order to keep kids from getting upset that they didn't get more candy than the other kids. But none of you as the kids don't know whose basket is whose, and you want to make sure that you get the most candy, which equals points at the end of the game. But if someone catches you putting too much candy into one basket and they think it's yours, they may tattle on you and basically eliminate you from the game. You get in trouble with your parents, and there's other crazy, wacky baskets that have different dramatic effects on the game. So very neat, cool idea. Let's go ahead and see how it actually plays. We'll do a brief overview, then we're going to come back. I'll let you know what I think. Okay, I'm going to give you a very brief overview of Tricks and Treats. This is a competitive game for 2 to 4 players where the goal is to have the most points by the end of the game. Thematically speaking, what you're trying to do is have the most candy in your trick-or-treat basket at the end of Halloween. You're playing a bunch of kids who just got back from trick-or-treating, and your parents have told you to split up the candy as evenly as possible. So you're trying to put your candy into the basket that corresponds to you, the player, without getting caught by the other players putting too much candy into one basket. If they catch you, they can tattletale on you and eliminate you from the game. So here are the basket cards here, and you're going to take a number of these cards equal to the number of players plus 2. So this actually assumes a 4-player game, so you have 6 baskets. Then each player is going to, you'll take the corresponding number of cards for the number of baskets that are in play, shuffle them up, so all these have 1 through 6 on them, shuffle them up, deal them out to the players, take whatever remaining cards there are, which in this case is 2, and remove them from the game without looking at them, and then everyone keeps their basket card a secret. That is their basket, whatever number that they get, and only they know that for sure, although there may be a chance for other players to guess. You also have the Time's Up card. Now, how this is going to work, this is the deck of candy, and in this deck you have, I believe it's 4 or 5 different types of candy that are numbered from 1 to 4. It doesn't really matter what type of candy they are, they're just numbered and colored, which will matter from some of the special baskets of candy. So you'll have 48 of these cards. You're going to shuffle them up, and then actually you're going to take 5 cards from the deck, shuffle the Time's Up card into those 5 cards for a total of 6 cards, and put that at the bottom of the deck. Whenever the Time's Up card is drawn, the game will immediately end if it hasn't ended already. The other way for the game to end is if all players but one have been eliminated, that player will immediately win. Otherwise, you're going to add up all the different candy cards you have, add up the score of how many candy are in your basket. If you survive to the end, whoever has the most is the winner. If there's a tie, nobody wins, as your parents call you all naughty children and forbid you to even touch the candy. So once you get rid of that, you're going to shuffle that into the deck. Play is going to begin. Each player gets 2 cards to start off with from the candy deck. On your turn, very simply, you're going to draw a card and you're going to play a card, and which will leave you with 2 cards in your hand, and you can play it on any basket that you want. And whenever more candy goes into a basket, you'll play it in such a way that the number and color of the card is still visible and keep stacking candy up. But you can put it on any basket that you want. Now, you may say, well, why wouldn't I just put it in my basket? Obviously, if the goal is to get as many points as possible in my basket, why don't I just do that? Because the other players are looking for you to do that. And if they think that you're putting too much candy into one particular basket, they're going to think that that's your basket, and they're going to tattletale on you for hogging the candy. On your turn, at any point, even before you draw a card, you may tattletale on another player. If you tattle on another player, you're basically going to say, okay, I think that you are the 2. The number 2 basket is yours, or, well, let's make it a legitimate example. So there's a ton of candy in the number 2 basket, and you notice one player who has been consistently putting that candy into that basket. You're like, I've had enough of this nonsense. You are clearly You clearly have the number 2 purple basket and you're trying to hog all the candy for yourself. I am tattling on you. At which point, if that player actually has the number 2 basket, which they don't, then they would reveal it to all the players and they are eliminated from the game. And that player actually gets to take their number card as 5 points for the end of the game. It counts for 5 points, assuming that player is not eliminated themselves. But if they're wrong, then the player that player will not reveal their card, but will slide it over to the player who wrongfully accused them. That player looks to confirm that they're not actually the basket number 2 in this example. And then that player who did the wrong accusing is eliminated, and the player who was accused gets to take that card. Okay, so obviously that was an awful example since this card was the 2, but anyways. So if you wrongfully accuse someone, not only are you eliminated, you're giving that other player more points. So you have to be very careful with how you do that. Otherwise, the game is going to continue with people putting candy out into the different baskets, trying to do it and use subterfuge to make sure that you put candy into your basket without people thinking that it's your basket. And when either everyone else has been eliminated or the time's up card is drawn, the game will end, you add up your points, whoever has the most points is the winner. Now there's one other extra little part to the game that I haven't really described, which is these cards here. These are the special baskets, which have different game effects. If you choose to play with these, you'll shuffle them up, put 2 into the basket cards when you shuffle them up and deal them out, depending on the number of players. So you have 2 extra baskets will have different effects on the game. So, for instance, you have the bad candy basket, and a lot of these have to do with the end of the game scoring. So, at the end of the game, you count the number of the candy of each type in this basket. The candy type that has the most is considered bad candy and counts as 0 for scoring. The disco basket. Now, this one is for during the game. Whenever there are 10 or more candy in this basket, you discard the cards in the basket and swap the numbered basket with the least amount of candy with the numbered basket with the most candy. The electric slide. At the end of the game, if there is an odd number of cards in this basket, then shift all baskets to the right by 1. If there's an even number of cards, then shift all baskets to the left by 1. And let's find another fun one. All right, we'll just do the magnet basket. Each time a player puts a 1 card in this basket, that player may take the last card from one basket and place it in another basket. So you don't have to play with these cards, but it's just another way to make things a little crazier, add some more variety. There's a ton of other cards, special basket cards as well, if you want to use those. And that is essentially Tricks and Treats. Now let's get to my final thoughts. Well, I said in my intro that I really, really like the theme of Tricks and Treats, and I stand by that. I think it's a cool idea of dispensing candy amongst kids at Halloween. And, you know, there's not really a lot of opportunity for a ton of really elaborate artwork on all the cards, but I still think that it's saying something that point gets across anyways with just the little pictures of candy that you have and the crazy baskets like the disco ball basket and all of that sort of thing. So the theme does come across, and of course it's all, the whole game is just lying essentially through simple card play, so it's different than other games like, say, the Resistance, where you're just talking and lying the entire time, whereas in this game it's just people can only look at what you do with your card, and you only get 1 play per turn. So how much information can people glean off of that? And that's a very interesting idea, trying to see how people are manipulating all the cards, especially when you throw in the optional variant craziness baskets, as I like to call them, which I do recommend that you play with if you play the game. I don't think there's any reason not to play with them. They don't really add that much complexity, even if you're playing for the first time. And in fact, they can add some needed complexity to the game. And so, even though I think that's an idea, even though I think that the game as itself, together with the theme, is a cool theme, cool idea, I don't personally like it that much. I can definitely see where people would, and I think that this is the type of game where it really rewards you playing with the same group of people over and over again. It's not a terribly long game. It's probably a little bit longer than I would like, but it is fast enough that you could play it with the same group over and over. And when you start to see patterns emerge with how people play cards, I think that's when you would get the most enjoyment out of it. I personally don't really have that option all the time with all the different groups of people that I play with. And so what ends up happening in the multiple games of this that I've played is that it just sort of turns into random chaos. People don't want to be too obvious, of course. I mean, it's blatantly obvious that people do not want to put cards in their basket right off the get-go, or too many in there. So then it comes down to a matter of just randomly putting out cards to some degree and trying to trick people into tattling on the wrong person. And that's very interesting again, but it's just very, very random at first. And I'm sure that there is a way to play it with more skill. I personally haven't seen that happen. I've seen games end in one of two ways, obviously, because that's the rules, but either people just keep putting out cards randomly and everyone's too scared to tattle on anyone else, or people just tattle like crazy because they're sick of just randomly putting out cards. And that can be somewhat interesting, but again, it just comes down to randomness at a certain point, especially with that method of just trying to end the game by tattling. So there is fun to be had, to be sure, and I've had fun with the game, but it leaves me wanting more. Like, I feel like there's a great idea here that needs to be refined and fleshed out. I don't want it to be too complex. I like the fact that it's fast and it's just a simple card game to a degree, but maybe it's just missing a little something, a little more ways to have interaction between the players, or to get more information and try to have more of a deduction element. Because right now, the only way to deduce what someone is doing is just by looking where their cards are played. But again, if you're not playing with people who are really skilled at the game, well, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but it just feels like there's something missing to the game, which is sad because, again, I really, really like the theme. And I think there's some cool ideas here, but who knows? Maybe there's a variant out there, or maybe the game will be refined in the future with another release, just to give it just a little more extra oomph and push it over that edge into a very cool card game. But as it is, I think there's some people that are going to really like it. Some people, like myself, just are not. And I do think that it probably is a good game for kids because it is simple enough and it has that cool theme. Maybe you can actually play it with your kids at Halloween, which is coming soon, and actually use candy. That might be... I don't know, actually, that might be either fun or a disaster depending on how sensitive your kids are when if some person actually ends up taking most of the candy. I don't know, but I think that would be a cool idea. I'd like to at least see it. So that's Tricks and Treats from Nazca Games. My name is Nick. This has been Board Game Brawl, and I'm reminding you to get out there and game every day and in every way. Take care.